All right, guys. So, like I said, I'm just gonna, continue to show my face. I never know what wants to come up. To be honest, I don't put any true intention into the work that I'm doing right now. The only intention I have um, on this platform is to just be my true and authentic self and to speak truth. Whatever needs to come forward, I will not know until it happens. Okay. So, um, I don't know. I received an energy of Kool-Aid. Don't ask me why I want to talk about Kool-Aid, but for some reason, Kool-Aid dropped in my spirit, and I feel like there's a need to talk about it. So, I want to talk about when I don't know, a lot of people probably, you guys probably don't even make Kool-Aid anymore. I know when I was coming up as a kid, Kool-Aid was a big commodity in the family. Family functions, you had a big jug of cherry Kool-Aid, strawberry Kool-Aid, grape Kool-Aid, orange Kool-Aid. Um, my kids grew up on Kool-Aid. I know that there's a lot of things that go inside of the Kool-Aid that are actually, it's funny because um, some may think, okay, well, we're going to give our kids Kool-Aid, or we're going to give people Kool-Aid because, it's something that we can stretch. It's a nice, cool drink, in the summer time. But the things that Kool-Aid are made of is water. Okay, that's when you speak of water. Water can be something that is natural, is healthy. As a human, we are 90% made up of water, so um, we have to drink water. So, as a parent back then, we would think that Kool-Aid would be healthy because it has water in it. But not everything with water in it is healthy because of what we tend to dilute the water with is the chemicals or concentrations that we add to that water, right? So, um, so Kool-Aid, you start off with a pitcher of water, okay? Natural water, whether it's tap water, spring water, purified water, or natural, just mineral water, whatever water you want to use, right? And water by itself is good. Water represents, the health of the earth. We need water for the earth to grow. The trees, the flowers, everything needs water. Our body needs water to operate. We have to make sure we're drinking enough water in order for our organs to function at its greatest capacity, right? So, that's one of the ingredients for Kool-Aid. But then you have this flavoring. It doesn't have sugar in it. It's like all natural flavoring, which could be cherry, it could be strawberry, it could be grape. It's the artificial flavor, right? Artificial, as we know, is not authentic. So it's not pure. It's artificial. It's like something that was created to make it taste like something that is truly not, right? That's what artificial is. Being something that you're not, creating something that's not. That's just like saying, okay, I'm going to clone an apple. Well, the cloned apple is artificial, or I'm going to clone a human. That cloned human is an artificial human. I'm going to clone a human and put some type of brain in it. That is called artificial intelligence, right? Okay, AI. There you go. So the thing about that is, so you put this artificial flavoring inside the water, which at that point, the artificial flavor and artificial color is like a artificial flavor coloring powder that you put inside the water to create the Kool-Aid. Okay, so if you have cherry, it's going to be red because cherries are, we see cherries as being red. That's what they are when they grow out in the wild, or when we plant and create a fruit tree, a cherry tree, they come up and they be red. So cherry flavor is red. Orange flavor would be orange because an orange is orange in color. Grape flavor would be purple because grapes are technically purple. When we have grape jelly is purple. When we have grapes, but some grapes are not purple. There's only like one grape that is purple, but some are also green. So, but we have grape for purple, green for apple, for the green apple. So that's just, I'm just giving you some, ideas around what we are putting inside the water to create Kool-Aid. Now, I'm going somewhere with this. Now, I'm not just talking about Kool-Aid. I'm going somewhere with this. There is definitely a message here that is formulating around Kool-Aid. So then, once we put the artificial flavor and coloring in, then of course we want it to taste like something, because the artificial coloring has no flavor. The powder has no flavor to it, right? And the water, of course, any water has no flavor unless you add something to it, rather it's minerals or vitamins or something, to the water to give it flavor. So, with that being said, the next step that you would do to add to this water to create this Kool-Aid, this picture of Kool-Aid, is add sugar, right? As we know, sugar is really not that good for you as an adult. But, kids need a certain amount of sugar to function. But as an adult, we want our intake of sugar to decrease. We don't want to increase it. So you have to put the sugar in there in order to have some type of flavor. And you're going to get that grape flavor. You're going to get that orange flavor, that cherry flavor, strawberry, whatever flavor artificial colorings that you put in. That's the flavor you're going to get. You mix all of this together really nicely, put some ice in there, and you got a nice summer drink. This is what we fed our kids. This is what we fed ourselves, right? So the message around this is, right? The most natural, authentic part of the creation of Kool-Aid is the water. And our bodies are created with 90% of water, right? 90% water, and then you have all of the other things that create the body and help the body to function, okay? But that's only 10%. 90% body is water, mass, right? So the reason I wanted to talk about this is because there is a message behind what are you adding to your water that is creating something that is outside of the natural being of it, right? So we naturally have water, but what are we pouring into ourselves to create something that we are not truly meant to be, right? So I was thinking about that Kool-Aid. I was like, we put all this stuff inside of this water just so we can have something that we think is, going to satisfy our taste buds, because we don't want to drink water by itself. We want some sugar. We want some artificial flavoring. We want all of these things to drink water, when natural water is what we need to operate. So why did I think of this message? Why did this message drop in my spirit? Well, I feel like either I or you, the viewer, are being questioned by a higher power that's saying, what are you putting in your water? Your water, what do water represent? Water represents your emotional body. So humans are 90% emotional body of water, right? So what are you feeding your emotions? What are you feeding yourself on a daily basis? What are you viewing? We only have 24 hours out the day. Out of those 24 hours out the day, what are you viewing with your eyes? What are you listening to with your ears? See, your eyes and your ears and your mouth are the entryway to your water, your emotions, your emotional body. What we eat tends to bring about how we feel. If we're eating bad food or eating stuff that we know that are not healthy for our body, then we're going to be in some form of emotional distress. But if you have a healthier diet, you're putting the right proteins, you're putting the right calories, you're putting the right, starches and fruit, fiber, the right stuff into your emotional body, it tends to help. When you stir it all up, it helps the body to grow more healthier mentally and emotionally. So we have to be careful about the types of food we're eating. It's already bad enough that, some of us are staying in the United States where we have the worst processing when it comes to food. So we have to be very careful about what we are eating, knowing how that food was processed. Do your research. Research the company. Research the chemicals that they use in their produce. Research the chemicals that they use on their protein products. Research those things so that you know exactly what you are putting into your entryway to into your emotional body, your waters. What are you putting in your water? What type of Kool-Aid are you mixing up right now? All right. So that, like I said, the mouth, the eyes, and the ears are the entryway into your emotional body. How you're going to feel from a day in and day out, moment to moment. How you react to things, right? Day out, moment to moment. It all plays to what is in the Kool-Aid. That's what I just got from Spirit. Spirit just told what? Listen, that's what Spirit just said. It's all about what you're putting into the Kool-Aid within the emotional body. So the next thing is your eyes. On a daily basis, where are your eyes glued? You have 24 hours in a day. Are you at least half of that time, which is 12 hours, 12 hours of your daytime, are you on your phone or your tablet or your computer looking at other people, allowing them to feed your emotional body, mind with crap? What are you watching? What are you listening to? See, the things that you watch tend to be the things that you create within your emotional body, right? So if you're always looking at, people cheating on their spouses, what do you think your emotional body is going to feel? How do you think that, you're going to be that's the type of reality you create, because your reality is created through your emotions and through your mental space. How you think and how you feel. That's how you create your reality. If you're thinking that your life is a total mess and out of control, and you're feeling like your life is a total mess and out of control, then your life is going to be total mess and out of control, right? But if you change the dynamics, change what you're eating, change what you're viewing, change what you're hearing, and change what you're thinking, it tends to change what you're feeling, because what you're mentally putting in through your eyes and through your ears, it is messing with the emotional body, the water system of the body. You're feeding or pouring these negative aspects in from outside you. This is not your natural habitat. This is to be in those states. Your natural habitat is not to be in chaos. Your natural habitat is not to be in distress, not to be frustrated. Your natural habitat is not to have emotional anxiety or depression. That is not the human natural habitat. We are supposed to be love, peace, happiness. We're supposed to be at our greatest potential, and being at your greatest potential means that you are someone who has you're sovereign. Sovereignty is your highest potential. And what is sovereignty? Sovereignty is peace, alignment, connectedness to God's source. So that is what I got out of Kool-Aid. I don't know. Kool-Aid dropped in my spirit, and I was like, we put all of this junk inside, sugar and artificial flavor and coloring, to create what we think feels good or tastes good to our taste buds. But in reality, what it is doing is destroying the natural water that resides within all of that. The base of a human body is water. The base of Kool-Aid is water. But when you start pouring all this stuff into it, you tend to change the whole dynamics of its natural state. It is no longer white, pure water. It is now red, filled with a lot of chemicals and functioning on a whole nother level that it never was put on this earth to do. We're talking about Kool-Aid, y'all. We're talking about Kool-Aid, but the crazy part about it is you have to think about it. You know, Kool-Aid, before it was Kool-Aid, it was water. But then when you put all those chemicals in it, it became Kool-Aid. So before we were, okay, so our natural state as humans, our natural state is human, created in God's image. That's the natural state. And if we're created in God's image, then that means that we have power and authority over the things that try to destroy us. But the enemy knows that the enemy knows how to trick us and know that we want something cool. We want something that fits our taste bud or fits who we are. We want a whole lot of money and we want to dress like this and we want the body of a model type stuff, but you got to go get BBLs and you got to go get breast reductions and you got to go get a liposuction and you got to go do all of that to get something that is not true and natural to who you are. So yeah, this is a message for somebody. You are beautiful just the way you are. You do not have to do all of those things to create something that fits the part or looks the part or tastes the part. Come as you are because you are created in the image of God. Come as you are in your natural and beautiful state because everything that God created was created good. We don't have to spruce it up to make it look good, to fit the mold or fit what society says it needs to look like, or to act like society says it needs to act. Or just because you were born into it does not mean that you have to be it. Just because poverty has went 5-10 generations back does not mean that you can't change the dynamics of your ancestral lineage. You were created to have power over the trick of the enemy. The enemy says we can't drink water without putting Kool-Aid in it. We can't drink water without putting a pile of sugar in it and diluting the water to where it tastes better. No. The trick of the enemy says you cannot be a movie star or a spiritual motivationalist unless you have a body that fits the part. No. That's the trick of the enemy, telling you that you have to put sugar and all these flavorings over your body in your life in order to look like something that society wants you to look like. Act like something society needs you to act like. When in reality, before you go to doing all these things to yourself, it's better to come as you are, as you have been created in the image of God. Pure hearted, full of life, and beautiful, just the way you are. That's the message. That was the message right there. It might have came as Kool-Aid, but I already knew God had a message he wanted to bring forth. And that's it. You know, you don't have to spruce it all up. Just be who you are. Your most and true authentic self. And that is power. All right, that's it. That's all I have for you guys today. I love you so much. Till next time, take care of yourself. Listen, we talk and we speak nothing but truth here. You know, from a day-to-day basis, I want to come because I don't know what God needs me to say, but I'm going to say it. No matter what it is, it's going to be said. It's going to be heard. And it's going to come out the way it needs to come out. And ain't no editing. Ain't going to be no editing. It's going to be natural stuff around here, okay? So, listen, this is your girl. I am the goddess of love, and that's all I know is how to love and be in it and present with God. That's all I know. That's all I've ever known, and now I know who I am. I am the goddess of love. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye. Oh, Lord, I'm about to break.